was so as someone who has played the Trickster Molten Strike from League Start, and I think I had a great time with it. I carried it all the way to the end, and I got bored. But I was very curious about the Armour Stacker. I kept talking about it because you do see some crazy, crazy, crazy POBs. Okay, um, like this is not even the full damage. It actually comes from, I think it was like 200. I don't remember. I kind of like started clicking nodes. This number is insane. Like that the you use, by the way, when you use POB with Molten Strike, please make sure you click average balls hitting. That is kind of an approximation of your actual single target damage. 129 mil is insane. I think on the Trickster version that I have, it's only like 12, 15, so this is about 10 times damage. So I was immediately very curious. Can I make this? Is it possible? Like, I was playing the wrong thing the whole time, and I spent the last few days leveling an Ascendant. And I'm gonna tell you this. I'll put it this way: New League starts next week. Do I then say, nah, I'm gonna go, Scion Ascendant? No way. I'd stay with the Trickster all the way. And why? Well, it's because the gearing requirements for the Armour Stacker are pretty severe. Okay, so I did have a Ascendant. I did try to kit it out as best as I could. I took all the items I had from the Trickster, moved it over here. I spent maybe 20 to 30 div on various things that this character needs. The replica Dream Feather with Resolute Technique. Mostly cluster jewels. This Armour Stacker archetype, where does the damage all come from? It's from auras. So I think all of them are gonna run. So I couldn't buy like those 3 passive voices. They're all like 100 divines each for 1 cluster jewel, and then you have them that branch out and stuff. I don't know why this is all fucked up here. Sorry for the language, but anyway, I mean, oh man, what a screwed up presentation, because I don't know what POB's problem is. It has a problem with cluster jewels. They were all allocated. Okay. So POB says 1,000,000, right? It's a far cry from 129, of course. It's 100 times damage. I don't know, what's the difference, right? So you have to check the calcs. You go to Molten Strike, and it's reporting a 129 mil DPS. The thing about the Armour Stacker is, with Replica Dream Feather, you get a little bit of fizz damage, but you have like a million plus armor. It scales that for increased attack damage. My question was, well, where does a flat come from? Because on an Ephemeral Edge build, the flat is the sword is giving you the flat, right? There's no flat here. The ring, you got Nimbus, and you got what looks like a generic, ES expensive ring. It's the answer is, the calcs will reveal it. There it is. Where? From Wrath and Smite. Because it's scaling aura effect. So they will take the Wrath added lightning damage and the added lightning damage from the Smite aura, and then that gives you the flat that you need. And then it has a massive increase of a whopping 8,300% sourced from, the armor. The armor is at 1.8 mil, so you see a gigantic value from the Replica Dream Feather, giving a enormous increased attack that's out of this world, right? Can you do this on a minimum budget though? No, you can't. You can't, because what they're doing in these builds is they are stacking a certain type of cluster jewel, the small reservation efficiency of skills with introspection. It has 35% increase, and this guy has, in addition to that, a synthesized thing with strength, intelligence. Like, this is really, 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 really expensive. He has 1 passive voices. This is I think about a mirror, if not more, each. 1, 2, 3. And it's scaling the auras to the moon. So if I disable his auras, determination and grace, his damage comes back down to earth. So the Armour Stacker is basically scaling, no surprise I guess for some people. The you eliminate that, the Wrath, now he's got no damage anymore, right? So what am I going to tell you here? I mean, if you have mirror upon mirror upon mirror upon mirror of currency, why not? If you don't, I think I'm confident enough in saying the trickster version is better. Because let's say you only spend like 300 div, 400 div into an Armour Stacker. Well, I actually have a nice little clip for you here. Okay, this is that character, the 95 Ascendant, with about 400D, 500D maybe of gear, mostly in the Mage Blood. And it's going through an un-ID'd T17.
Damage.
The ES is a bit wonky. A little bit not so much of the leech.
That.
I did get a lot of loot though, so maybe that's something that's going for it. I don't know.
That's a good start.
I'm just joking, of course.
But I just said incoming damage.
Wait, hold on. Turn the volume off, right? Oh, put on a little bit.
That's a good start.
So it actually does pretty well, but I do have a I sacrifice damage in my build. I use Aegis Aurora.
Oh yeah.
I'm figuring with that much armor,
Test.
nice to have recovery.
Test.
Back. Here. So
Damage pretty sad.
I say damage pretty sad because I remember what the damage is like on a trickster.
Oh, CC'd.
Yeah. So a big issue I had was on an un-ID'd map, the Ascendant has no way to deal with petrification. One man I left did say, as a response to, well, how do you deal with petrification in maps? He said, just kill stuff really quick. That would work. If you were to get that kind of damage that you saw in that, in the millions, like in the tens of millions, sure, you can just kill everything really fast. But if you can't, the petrification will get to you, right? So,
and now it's just all.
So yeah, and then okay, let's just skip forward here, right? Pretty boring. There's a bit of a damage issue, honestly, and the other annoying thing I thought was
CC'd again.
I get CC'd a lot.
Petrified.
I'm being petrified, right?
Well,
so
be a trickster.
that was not very fun.
Don't get petrified.
And the other annoying thing is I think you have to keep casting Smite or using Smite every once in a while because that's where your flat damage comes from. Whereas in a trickster build, using Smite is purely optional, as most of your damage is coming from the ES, the flat at least, right? Smite does not add that much damage in an ephemeral edge build because you have a huge flat already, right? So with this one though, if you're going to use Molten Strike, you're going to have to do a 2-button build, which is kind of annoying, honestly. You know?
What I can gather is just you do.
Yeah, like, it's pretty sketchy. I don't know why the damage is so high.
Oh.
This was, I think it had 87, 88? 87, yeah. I don't know, that's pretty sketchy. Anyway.
Much damage and nothing touches you.
But what made me quit playing this character,
Catches,
probably permanently,
so much
is
damage,
at the boss, which is coming up soon.
Incredible scaling, and I think it's fair.
Keep going.
Stack. Yeah. So.
Let's see, where's the boss? Oh wait, I have it linked here. What am I doing here? Here we go. So
that's sad.
That's sad. I mean, it could not go through the ES. I mean, granted, this is not a min-max character by any means, but I did feel a little bit disappointed. Like, I mean, how much armor did I have? Yeah, I had 200k, well, 174. Look, I'm not an expert on this build. I tried semi-casually to try to make it work, but when I see this,
Invincible.
I don't feel like investing more into the build at all.
Wait,
Like, you know, it seems like a very late game.
Getting hurt. Look at that.
It scales to the moon as you invest more and more into it, much like the in-stack trickster. You know, I'm not really fond of these kind of builds at all. They're very expensive. So I really had no way to kill this guy because the ES kept recharging.
So what I'm gonna do now.
So I swapped back to the trickster. Did level 100. And this is what it looks like, right? It's not a fair comparison. This character is 100 and min-max. I'm just saying, if you were to spend 5, 6, 10 mirrors pumping this character, what are you hoping to accomplish? Right? To my knowledge, what these characters do really well are maps that have the combination in valdos of 10% less damage and deli, and there's a timer. So without the 100 million damage, these are impossible for tricksters to do. That's very niche though, and to my knowledge, like, I think there's only a handful of maps. I don't know which ones. I think City Square Nimbus comes to mind. But like, I'm imagining if I pump all those mirrors into this character that I don't have, is that all I'm gonna get? Like, to do the Nimbus map, which I think is already under competition anyway because there's many characters with this build. So I said, I dropped it. I think you can do a T17 boss like this. It's good enough, and you don't have to deal with petrification. You don't have to use smite if you don't want to. I don't know. So that's it. I think the journey for the Armour Stacker has come to an end. I was kind of thrilled. I was thinking, yeah, it'd be nice to have it'd be nice to have 100 mil, but you gotta understand, it's a lot. It's these clusters that make it work, and they don't come cheap. These are very expensive, and also the armor. This is very expensive. This is over 200 divines. And I think a good necrotic with global defenses is not more than 100 to 150. It's the cost difference in the end that makes it just a little bit hard to play. Right, and their tinctures are different. They have to get rage from their tinctures, which is very odd to me. Honestly, it makes sense though, because they have so much increased damage from like the armor stacker thing. They don't need the line on top that says increased damage, but tricksters do. Tricksters need, like, for my flask, like, people usually use the increased damage, right? So it kind of think of this way: Armor Stacker has a gigantic increased damage value, but a smaller flat. The Trickster ES has a huge flat, but not that much increased. So that's how they're geared, right? One guy asked, "Do you use Rage on your Trickster?" Of course I do. Rage is amazing. This version uses Lethal Pride. You get one that gives you the what is it? Rage on melee hit. This one. You just need one of these, and you'll be doing, like, you will get 30 rage, and it'll do 30% more damage. Anyway, in the end, I don't know. You just can't go wrong with this kind of a build. It's just solid overall. It doesn't do extreme damage, but it is very tanky, and it doesn't cost you mirrors. Is the big thing. And by the way, in that clip, I do believe I ran through the entire map without turning on Purity of Fire. You can watch it. I later realized I forgot to put in Purity of Fire on a Sublime Vision build. I don't know. People who understand that will make of it what they will. That's about it.